All right, so this is take something of something. Okay, we're not gonna do any upfront because this might take a very long time to record, and I can only post up until an hour per episode. So we are here now. Welcome to a potential podcast with Tracy Lee. This is episode 33 if you count the trailer, 32 if you do not. Welcome back. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, I do need to give a little bit of context for those who are listening for the first time. This is episode 3 in a series I started whenever, based on the 7 deadly sins. I actually initially started the series because I wanted to address each of these sins in my life and whatever unique way they affect me. And my first episode was on envy, and I just pretty much talked about all the things I was jealous of. I think I was also trying to be a good girl in that episode, if I'm honest. I can't actually remember how it went. My next episode in the series was Lust, which I posted on Monday. I'm recording this 2 days after the last episode went live. Please note that I recorded the last episode, I think it went live on Monday. I recorded the last episode on Thursday? The week before. So, yeah, if you're listening to me for the first time, this is going to make no sense to you, but just listen to that episode. I don't generally pump my episodes, but there was chaos there. And you learn a lot about me in that episode, so please do yourself a favor. Anyway, so for those who did listen to the last episode, I just want to give you guys some context. First things first, you already know way too much about me based on that episode, so let me just go ahead and keep on that TMI train. So anyway, so as we know, I was hormonal in that episode, and I recorded it on Wednesday, I think. Yes, and I posted it. Obviously, it only went live on Monday, but I did record it on Wednesday, and I put it up and scheduled it on Wednesday. It turns out, friends and colleagues, that my period was coming on Friday. So I was mere days before Auntie Flo herself. So that explains a lot. Now, for all those who are like, how did you not know that? More TMI. I am not on any form of medical birth control or whatever. I don't take the pill or anything like that, or anything that can regulate my period and tell me it's going to come on a specific day. I don't have any of that going on over here. So as a result, because, your girl is keeping herself to herself, which is the reason I recorded the dang episode. But anyway, the point is, I don't have any type of hormonal regulation going, which means that I don't know when my period is coming. I have a general, gist of, roundabout when it's going to happen, which means that yes, I put myself through being cuckoo crazy for about 5 days, also a month, where I'm just like, what is going on? What's happening? And then my period comes and I'm like, that's why. So yes, I thought last week was the pre-week. It turns out it wasn't the pre-week. Well, it was the pre-week, but it was mere days before my body gave up on me having a baby. So yes, that is your upfront TMI. For those who are listening for the first time, you're welcome. Okay, anyway, so let's get into why I am here. Okay, so I am recording this on the Wednesday after I posted the last episode. If you want to do the math, you are welcome to. And actually, in the time since that episode, some stuff has happened and actually triggered my thinking. And I decided I'm going to do Pride. Now, the reason I'm doing a Pride episode is because just some stuff just flowed as a result of last week's recording and life and such. Sorry. I needed to take a sip there because I get dry mouth, guys. My gosh, talking to yourself by yourself in a room. Dry mouth central. Oh my gosh, the moon looks so pretty. Anyway, so what had happened was I decided I want to record Pride next, and let me explain why. So during the course of last week, which we already know, I was going through it. This is why I had to give you guys context. Just some stuff happened where I was just like, yo, we need to talk. Like, I want to talk about this on the podcast. But then I was like, okay, what is it linked to? And then I realized, let's address pride. Now, I want you to understand something. With me, pride is a very big thing that I'm trying to run away from. And actually, shame, ChatGPT actually wrote some points for me, but we're not following her outline because she's trying to go in a different direction to what I'm actually trying to say in this episode. But the way she titled it was, it's the sneakiest sin in the room. And I'm like, yeah, it's the sneakiest sin in the room. But I am so afraid of the sneakiest sin in the room that I don't know what I'm allowed to be proud of. And I think that's exactly what this whole episode is about. So what happened was, let me give you a little bit of that backstory. So the thing that triggered why I needed to record this podcast episode, and then we're going to talk a little bit about my actual life because I need to get some stuff off my chest. And then, yeah, we'll just talk about pride in general. Maybe. I don't know, depending on how long this is. Anyway, so the thing that triggered this episode. So what happened was last week Friday, as we know, I was already going through things. You listened to that episode. And I was just like, look, keeping in mind, I'm in a new country. I'm building a whole new community. Like, these people have known me for mere months. They're lovely people and everybody is so great. But also, like, they don't, like, you know me long time, not for anything other than the fact that I just haven't been here a long time. And yeah, so what happened was what did I do? Oh yes, so I decided, because so my new little community isn't really full of like drinkers like that. And I was like, I need a Long Island iced tea, right? And no one was giving their coming with me energy. I was like, you know what, nah, I'm gonna go have a little drinky pop. I'll see you guys now. Type of vibe. And it's my first time doing something that is just overtly like, I need this for me. Like, I don't care what you guys think. So anyway, I decided to go to the bar and have a drink. One man, bruh. I just sat on the deck and I decided to have a Long Island iced tea. I was like, screw this nonsense. It's been a week. Okay, I deserve nice things. So I decided to have a Long Island iced tea. I sat there, I watched people running around on the beach, I looked at the ocean, I realized how lucky I was. Like, I had a really nice, like, I think, how long did I sit there? I think I sat there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was good. When I say I was good, I was so happy because also, the Long Island didn't hurt. But yes, anyway, the point is, on the back of that, I was like, okay, cool. I came out of like this really happy bubble where I was like, I've healed from my week, yay me. Now, I went back and interacted with, my community who happened to be close by, because like no one wanted to come with me, so I decided to do it by myself. But obviously they were close by, so they were watching me, and everyone apparently was like feeling really bad for me because they're like, oh my gosh, she's drinking alone. Is she okay? And that's when I realized, I'm like, am I supposed to feel bad for drinking alone? And then it triggered me. I realized that a lot of how I define myself is linked to people's impression of me. And that is a big problem for me, right? That is, this is a running thing. This is the trigger for this podcast. It's the running thing. Okay, like if you know me, if you've been listening to this podcast long enough, you know this about me. It's a running kind of thread. And something struck me. I realized for the first time that I'm like, that might not necessarily be my fault. You know what I'm saying? And let me explain. Because the biggest thing that I've always struggled with is people are like, dude, just stop caring what people think. And then I'm like, but how? Swaggity sway. And I started judging myself for not being able to cut myself off from thoughts of how other people think of me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why can't I just be cool and nonchalant like everybody else? And then I realized, I'm like, it's because I like having people around, right? Like, I am equally, actually, I'm not equally, yeah, I am equally happy around people and alone. And I think that is something that a lot of people don't understand. I am so good with my own company. I really am. Like, I am good with my own company. I love spending time by myself. The issue, unfortunately, is the fact that you spend too much time by yourself. It's hard to spend time with people. And eventually, you want to spend time with people. Do you get what I mean? Like, I am equally energized by both. I am an ambivert. Actually, that is the very first episode we posted on this podcast. Don't listen to it. It's not my best work. Anyway, but like, I'm an ambivert. I am energized in both situations. Granted, I will say one of the things that has developed as I've gotten older is my need for alone time. I think it's just me maybe addressing my inner child a bit more, but we'll get to that. The point I'm trying to make is, how is it that people can say care less about what people think? I'm like, yes, but I am in relationship with these people. And if you're in relationship with somebody, there is a level of their view of you that you take on. Like, as much as you like want to define yourself and express yourself in a certain way, that person still has a view of you. Like at the end of the day, they still have a view of you. They see you how they see you. Like, obviously you can try and like shape that, add to that, make that bucket clearer and express yourself to the best of your ability. But at the end of the day, that person's brain is going to make an impression of you. And that impression is how they are going to interact with you accordingly. And with some people, their impression of you is so strong that you are technically just fighting sometimes a losing battle. And I realized that I think that is what happens in my life sometimes, where there are people who have put me in a box and they love that box for me so much that they don't know, like, when I behave outside of that box, they're just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just existing. And they're like, wait, what are you doing? Stop it, right? And then I react to that. But like I said, I still need to take responsibility for the fact that sometimes I don't communicate myself fully. I'm not sitting there acting as if I have fully evolved into being the honest, vulnerable. I mean, I guess I'm vulnerable. Am I vulnerable? I don't know. I just tell people my business. Case in point, the beginning of this episode. But like, I'm not bothered about the information I share about myself. I'm just like, whatever, bruh. Like, it's information. And, like, what's it gonna change? But I think people misconstrue my ability to be very open as, like, maybe vulnerability or, like, I don't know. So it ends up being a thing where, like, I endear myself to people simply just because I tell them my business. And they're like, oh my gosh, she tells you so much of her business. Does that mean we're besties? And then you're like, no, if you ask, I am literally one of those people, ask no questions, tell no lies. Like, if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the whole truth. Straight up. If you ask, I'm going to tell you. Like, simple. It's just kind of how I am. So, anyway, I say all of this to say, yeah, like, that's what triggered this episode, is I was just like, as a result of me having that one drink by myself, everyone was like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Oh, that's so sad. And I was like, I wasn't sad. Now I'm annoyed because you guys feel bad for me. And as a result, if I don't act like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those weird things where if something just keeps like, what's the word? There's a nice English word for this. But something keeps, like, it doesn't replicate itself. Like, if something is just happening that way, you have to just kind of slide in. You know what I mean? Oh, there's such a beautiful English word for this, but I can't find it. It is what it is. Whoever does think of it, I don't know if there's commentary wherever you're listening to this, but please leave a comment because I need to know what that word is. You know that word where, like, if the train is moving, you just kind of jump on the train and go with it type of vibe because it's just easier. But yes, so anyway, so yeah, just everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's so sad she was drinking by herself. And I'm like, that wasn't sad. I'm fine. But now, because you're so determined to feel bad for me, I'm like, do I feel bad? And I think it's the same with, like, a lot of other things. Case in point, like, you know, getting married, having kids. I'm like, do I actually want to get married? Okay, no, I know I want to have kids. That one's unshakable. But do I actually want to get married? Like, and obviously getting married and having kids are all linked together. But, like, do I actually want to get married? Do I? Or is it just the fact that I was in a community and in a space where not getting married leaves a certain impression of you on people? You know what I mean? Where, like, people are like, oh, shame, you haven't gotten married, and all these people are getting married around you. Like, it's that, like, you have to deal with other people's, like, people are like, oh, shame. And I'm like, but I wasn't feeling, oh, shame. I wasn't feeling that way, but now I have to exist in the reality where you feel bad for me, which automatically means I'm dealing with nonsense that is not mine. I'm fine, you know? And I think that was another thing, is like, you know, how much of the way you think of yourself is defined by what other people think of you. And that now leads me to, you know, this is when, now, what happened on the back of me triggering that is I was on my way to go see somebody in another province, and I had, I think, like a 2 hour, no, it was an hour and a half bus ride along the way. And I got to thinking, I'm like, where did this come from? Because, like I said, it's not anyone's fault. It's me taking on people's stuff. So I'm like, where did this come from? Why am I programmed to exist in whatever reality people have built for me in their heads? Other than the fact that I want to be in community and I want to have people, like, around me. Like, I like, if I love you, like, I want you around. And if I want you around, then there's a level of whatever you project on me that I kind of have to work with. And please, guys, this is a healing journey. I'm not recording this as a healed person. I'm recording this as a person who just noticed something in my patterns. And I'm about to tell a very twisty little story that's going to add to the fact that I'm trying to address things and talk things out right now. So, like, is there a way to exist in community and relationship where you don't take on someone else's opinion of you in any way? Like, and still be, like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't cracked the code on this one, guys. And maybe my problem is the amount I take on is too much. But then how do you limit? You know, I don't know. Anyway, that's a different thing. So anyway, as I was riding the bus, something came to me. I guess it was just me thinking about why is it that I am this way. And I actually wrote this. Yeah, it's about to get real deep. So buckle up. Anyway, so I was thinking about, like, my parents and how I grew up and all of that stuff. So for those who don't know, I am an only child. Both my parents had children before they had me, but neither of them raised their children before they had me. So, you know, my mom had my brother, my dad had my 2 sisters, but neither of them actually were there to raise those children. So I was raised as an only child because also both, you know, sides of my siblings are all older. I am the baby of the family, even though technically my parents together only had me. So that's just a little context. That doesn't really interweave into this too much as far as I know, but, you know, context. Anyway, so I grew up alone with parents who spent all their time keeping up appearances, showing up for others more than showing up for me. And I just want to say that this is not me coming at my parents. This is just me speaking my truth. Think now that I'm older and I guess also desiring to have children of my own, I'm starting to understand my parents a lot more. But this is gonna come across as harsh, but it's me having to get the stuff off my chest. In both selfish and loving ways, my parents programmed me that I need people. It's just the way that they expressed this was very unhealthy. Like, yeah. It was just not the best. My parents very much care about appearances. They care what people think of them. They care what people, like, how they see them. Like, it was a big thing for my family. Our little, small little family, the three of us together. I was raised to be a giver, but, like, not in a good way. My dad gave, but with strings attached. I used to actually say to people, and I mean I still do, where I actually used to say to people, and I still do, like I said, that if my father ever gives you a gift, please be aware it comes with strings attached. It comes with a favor. It comes with a something. He's going to come back and you are going to have to pay it back. My mother gave from the goodness of her heart, but at the detriment of those closest to her. And I guess, we'll address that. And both of them were doing this for the appearances of it all. Like, they wanted to appear a certain way. And I grew up in that. And keep in mind, I didn't have someone else, like another kid, to bounce the fact that this is weird, right? Off of. Which means that I'm just being full-on programmed. Anyway, there's nothing worse than being an only child to parents who don't know how to handle an only child. Both my parents grew up in large families with minimum 5 siblings. You understand that if you're a black person in South Africa. My dad was also the baby and the mama's boy in his family, which is just an episode altogether. But they chose to have me. And the problem is, unfortunately, they raised me as if I have siblings. Like, I don't know how else to explain that. And maybe there's an only child out there who can get what I'm trying to say. But they raised me like I have siblings. Like, there is someone else on my team. You know what I mean? Like, someone else who understands the craziness of being a kid. Like, as if I had a support system for all the requirements they had of me. It kind of was like I was meant to be all 3 or 4 of the kids they had together, all in one. It messes you up a little bit. I had to entertain myself. I had to play myself. And I had to pretty much just like self-contain. I had to figure myself out. Also keeping in mind, my parents had me when they were older and successful and they had their lives together, which is the blessing of obviously the fact that they were able to raise me. The one downside is the fact that they were living their absolute best lives. Like, they were at a successful point in their lives. They had made it. And then they had me, which is, I mean, great because I got to enjoy that success. But unfortunately, they treated me as if I had to, like, I knew what to do. I don't know how to explain this. Like, my parents treated me like I was a team member. like I knew how to exist in this reality that they had built. And as a result, there's a lot of stuff that my parents just assumed I understood. And they treated me accordingly. Like, they treated me like I am supposed to know that I should share things, even though all my toys were mine. Like, they were only bought for me. I'm the only kid in the family. If I don't share, it's because who would I share with? No one else wants the toys. They are all mine. And yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things that I actually had to, like, I was punished and judged, if one could say, for having a level of, I guess, selfishness, like, and like knowing how to just self-contain. Like, the only thing my parents actually let me be, like, in the case of, like, I guess, lonerism, or like let me have, if I was just one-manning it, was reading. They let me read all the books I wanted to read, and they let me be the nonsense I was when I read. Like, if I had a book in front of me, they left me the hell alone. Like, they were very happy to leave me alone if I had a book. But outside of that, if I was behaving in any way that was pointing towards my only childism, they would, I don't want to, yeah, actually, sometimes in the case, beat that out of me. And the funny thing is, it's like they forgot that they just had me. I don't know how to explain this. It's like they're like, why do you behave like this? Because they don't know what an only child is like. They don't. And they very rarely interacted with other only children because, like I said, my parents were full adults who lived full adult lives. I didn't have a kid's room. I had a room in a house. It was just another room. There were pictures in the room that said it was my room, but if you took those pictures away, you wouldn't know this was the child's room. I could have lived in any room in that house. Truly, any room in that house. Really, truly. And no one would have known the difference. My bedding wasn't different. There was nothing unique that said that that room was mine. Because my parents had this beautiful adult life that they had built for themselves, and I just happened to be in it. They didn't build a life for a kid. They built a life and happened to have a kid in that life. Yo, look at me just going through the traumas. But anyway, so as a result of this, I have lived a lot of my life dealing with other people's impressions of me. Because like I said, they built this life and I just had to fit into it. And they presented this life and they worked so hard for it and whatever it is. So as a result, I am a walking paradox. I can be extremely selfish without consideration of others, or I can be extremely selfless to my own detriment. I can do both those things. Every decision I make, I feel like I'm choosing either one or the other. And I live on the edges of both extremes because I am, as I said, I am able to be both. I can be alone for mass amounts of time and I am good. I'm fine. But on the other hand, I can also be super energized by being around a lot of human beings. One of the things that I think is a great way to explain this is I love to dance in public. And I don't need you to dance with me. Right? I just need your energy. I like to be alone in public. I don't know how else to explain that. I've said it before where I'm I would love to just be a fly on the wall. Be around people just to soak in their energy, but not have to interact with them at the same time. Alone, but outside. That's my ideal situation. Anyway, so that being the issue is I am built to care what people think simply because I technically don't. It was beat into me that I need to care what people think because I don't care what people think. And as a result, it's kind of this thing I put on myself. And I don't know how to get rid of it. And then also on top of that, let's just make it even worse. I then joined a reformed church, which has its own teachings and abilities of making you feel like anything that is remotely self-involved or self-focused is automatically selfish and prideful and wrong. So confidence becomes shaky. Self-trust becomes shaky. And as a result, I'm in this really shaky place where every time I feel like I'm doing something for myself, I feel really, really bad. There is guilt. There is heaviness. And yeah, my life has just been a festival of trying to solve where I land on the spectrum of nature versus nurture. My nature is I'm good. Hey, humans are cool, but meh. I'm okay. But nurture telling me that, hello, you need humans to exist out there. You know what I mean? And finding the balance between those two things. Because my issue is, because I'm so good without people, I end up going in the opposite direction just so that I can try and find a balance. But then sometimes I go too hard and I burn out socially, which is part of the reason I moved to another country. Yes, I ran away. I moved to another country because I was socially burnt out. Ladies and beans, that's a real thing. That happened to this girl. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this episode is going a direction, but we're here now. So yes, that was a little bit chaotic of an explanation, but yeah, the point I'm trying to make is people's impressions of me matter to me. And one would say, just stop caring. I'm like, no, it's not that easy, love. Because the problem is, I'm like, you tell me to stop caring, I stop caring. The only issue is, eventually, I'm gonna need a person. And then, like, what do I do then? Do you get what I mean? Because my problem is, if I stop caring, how am I gonna find a husband? How am I gonna have them babies that I wanna have? You know what I mean? Because humans don't function that way. Am I a sociopath? Hectic. Yo. There might be something there. Anyway, whatever. We're not going to address that. That's another little deep thing. But anyway, so the point and why I decided to do this whole explanation as a relation to pride is I'm trying to understand what the difference is between pride and confidence. What's the difference between being prideful and knowing that you're allowed to have things that you are proud of, you know? And that is something I'm like working on. I'm trying to unpack. And it's one of the things I need to address while I'm taking this social break. So here's some stuff that ChatGPT wrote that I just, wanted to throw in because I was like, this is kind of cute. So yeah, so we addressed what is pride really. So pride in the Bible, as we know, is the fall before the fall. As we know, Satan got kicked out of heaven because and Adam and Eve, how we all ended up here. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before the fall. Guys, these are the things that are pumped at you. And pride will trip you up faster than your own shoelaces, as ChatGPT says. That's funny. Also, we have James 4:6. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. So, where I kind of have a trick and the thing that messes with me is the fact that maybe I just need better defined, definitions of what humility is, what confidence is, what pride is. So ChatGPT says the following: the difference, from a self-worth perspective, confidence says I'm enough, pride says I'm better. And I think in my case, my ability to understand that I'm enough gets shaky because I'm like, am I enough? Because I need to care what you think, don't I? Or don't I need to care what you think? But if I don't care what you think, then I don't care what you think at all. But isn't that dangerous? You see, there's layers to this thing, guys. There's layers to this thing. Because I'm like, at what point, confidence is I'm enough. Okay, that's chilled. But then, don't you need a level of pride and a level of, pride to, top yourself, do better, do more things, ambition. You see what I'm saying? But that's another thing. Is ambition requires a bit of pride, does it not? Or does ambition just require confidence? I don't know. These are things I'm thinking about. Yeah, I guess humility is something I need to work on. Humility isn't being weak or small. It's being grounded. It's knowing your worth and your limits. And I think that's something I need to learn. Well, I'm learning now. Is I need to understand my worth, but I also need to know where that stops. And it doesn't have to be extremes. It's saying, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. It's choosing connection over competition. It's vulnerability over vanity. Yeah, I have nothing else to say there. Humility softens your ego, strengthens your relationships, invites real growth, lets you breathe. Interesting. So maybe I've been faking humility this whole time, bro. Maybe. Because deep down inside, I actually don't care. Or maybe the key is to just risk it for the biscuit and just be like, but I don't care. And then see what happens. Maybe I'm afraid. The pride has me afraid to just be like, but I don't care. And see what happens. You see what I'm saying? Maybe. Okay, so the next heading was how to check your pride without shaming yourself. So questions to ask. Why am I afraid to be wrong? Yo. Look at ChatGPT coming for me as I'm having a little moment. What am I trying to prove and to who? Oof, come on. And then the next one, is this confidence or am I protecting an image? Oof. It's a Chetty, Shem. This girl can write. Yes, my ChatGPT is called Chetty. So yes, you need to apologize without the but. That's easy. I do that all the time, and I actually really do mean my apologies. Hey, I do, but also I don't know if I mean them because I'm afraid of what that person may think. Look, this is deep, guys. We're not gonna fix it in an episode. Listen more than you speak. Literally, ChatGPT is like, ouch, I know. ChatGPT is so sassy. Anyway, laugh at yourself. It's healing. I think that is something I need to do. Affirmation. Ooh, come on, affirmation. I am enough. I don't need to pretend to be more. Ooh. Come on, as Michael Jackson would say. Oh, and then something that actually also came to me during the course of all of this writing about this episode and what I needed to record. My friend actually said to me when I arrived, and we spoke about stuff in life in general. She said to me, "You date at the level you think you deserve." And something about that just struck me, where I don't think it's just date. I think it's you relate at the level you think you get back, you know what I mean? But dating is, I think, a little bit deeper than that. Like, if you look at the person you're dating, you need to say, okay, cool, this is what I think I deserve. And that can be either a good thing or a bad thing. I have more to address on that one. I actually wanted to address it in this, but I think it's just going to make it long and twisty, and I also have a lot more thoughts. But do with that as you please. Yeah. Look, pride might be powerful, but humility is what keeps us real. That's what ChatGPT says anyway. Yeah, I'm on a journey with this pride thing. I think the big thing that I am just right now sitting with is it's okay for people to think what they want to think of you, and it does not have to affect how you think of yourself. And that's not something I'm saying to you guys. This is what I'm saying to me. And that is something I'm constantly just reminding myself of. Unfortunately, as we know, I operate in extremes, which means that sometimes I have to give myself a little bit of a false, confidence, not even a confidence, but a false, pride energy. I have to be a little cocky. I need to be a little arrogant, just to kind of rebalance myself and bring myself back, because as I said, I don't know how to temper it out. I don't know how to be confident without being proud or prideful. So yeah, that's a journey I'm going on. Anyway, this is our pride episode, ladies and beans. Thank you so much for listening, y'all. I'm loving this energy that we're preserving. Yeah, so there are going to be other deadly sins that I record and address. Yo, the moon looks so nice. Oh my gosh, dude. I was chilling on the beach the other day. Also, talking about the beach, guys. No one tells you how nice it is. It's really nice. It's it bangs. It's nice, okay? Literally, I sat on the beach and I looked at the moon and it reflected on the sea. I was like, come on, man. Look at God just showing off here in front of me. Anyway, the moon looks really nice. Now I'm just waffling. this has been a potential podcast with Tracy Lee. Thank you for listening. I pray this podcast and I live up to our potential. Okay, I love you. Bye.